Welcome back to my animation channel. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm currently working on part 4 of the movie I'm making, the Paint on Safari. And in this little video, I'm just going to show you how I'm creating some of the animals. I've done a giraffe, I've done zebra and rhino, and in this video we're just going to look at the wildebeest that I've created. So all these characters come into the movie as the safari is going on, so we're going to have quite a few animals in this movie. There's elephant and leopard still to come, crocodiles, etc. Lion, the lion reappears, but we're just going to look at how I created this wildebeest here in this part of the movie. So I created this in OpenToonz. It's on various layers. The body's in a layer, the tail, the horns, the ears, the mane and the beard. And also he's chewing some grass. So I've got the mouth in various parts, 2 parts, and I've got the grass in another part. So it was all painted and created in OpenToonz. I used reference for this quite heavily. And here at the top is the mane, and I'm just see a little bit there that I had to rub out. And what we're going to do here is we're going to animate the wildebeest. I've already done his tail. We're using plastic. Now plastic's it's my favorite part of OpenToonz to animate, to be honest. What it does is it applies a mesh above the part that you select. So you go and draw your body part or whatever you want to animate. Maybe it's a cloud or a flower, a blade of grass, and you apply mesh to it. The mesh goes over that drawing, and then you can go and add bones to that mesh and then animate the actual bones, the nodes and the bones. So very, very cool little tool in OpenToonz, and it's by far my most favorite tool to animate in OpenToonz. I use it more than anything else. Where other people may use skeletons to animate, I'm actually using plastic. So we did this whole thing in plastic. Here you can see his tail has got needs a bit of work at the end here. I need to go back and fix this up. But you can see I got a nice thrashing. I think it's nice, at least. A nice flick in the tail. This is what these wildebeest do. A lot of the horses, etc. A lot of the stuff, zebra, etc. There's a lot of flies and pests out in the field in the savannah. So they're often just flicking their tail, and that's to flick these flies and the tsetse flies, etc. away. So he's got a big flick in his tail there. That was a lot of fun to do, but we're just going to animate the body, the mane and the beard here. First of all, as always, I've set up a hierarchy that everything's linked to the body. So if you move the body, everything moves. And on his head as well, all the horns, the ears, the mouth parts, the grass, etc. is all linked by hierarchy to the head. So if I rotate or move the head, everything else moves. That's always the very first thing you're going to be doing. And then we've got the mane and the beard and everything behind the head and behind the body. So let's start with the body. Go down to this little button here, that's a plastic button. Go and select that. And go up to the top left and press create mesh. And that's where the magic starts to happen. It creates the mesh I was talking about over the drawing that it finds. And it will give you a default. It's given us 5.08 millimeters on the mesh edges. That's a little small. I usually take it up to 8 or 10. In this instance, I'll make it 12. And you can press apply and it applies a mesh. Now usually it'll apply it over the body part, but because I've used animate keys to set this guy up, this wildebeest up, it's thrown it out somewhere. So all we do is we just go and copy that animate key there and paste it into the mesh column, which is that purpley color, and you'll see it comes in over that drawing. So what happens here in plastic is that the mesh leads. The drawing is underlying the mesh, and if you go into the hierarchy, you'll see that the drawing is following the mesh. So that's what happened there. It just was set up the other way around. So just fix that up, and then you can see here, turn the tail off, you can see the mesh goes around the animal. It's picked up a bit of stuff. It wasn't clean around the edges, so that's why the mesh is going off there a little bit. It's picked up some other stuff that I didn't clean up. That's okay. Then the second thing is to set up a bone structure or skeleton within this mesh. So although I use plastic and I don't use skeletons much, at the end of the day, this does have skeletons in, and that's how you use it. So plastic is different to skeletons, but there is a skeleton in plastic. Who knew? So go back down and select the plastic key, bottom left there, and then go up to the right a little bit. There's an animate button. Go down and select build skeleton, and then you can start building your skeleton there. It starts with the root. We're going up into the neck here, just dropping nodes in. Now my stylus here has a very hair trigger setting, and it often double taps on the nodes, so I have to come back and clean it up. You probably won't have the same problem. I've tried to fix it, but every time it just comes back to this. So I'm just going through here looking for double nodes, set up the legs, and just cleaning it up here. And then we can go into the neck, and in the neck you can set, because most of the movement in this actual move of the Wildebeest will be in the neck. He's going to do a flick, so we want to set a nice structure up in the neck here that we can animate. So make sure to fill that part of the mesh with a lot of nodes, a lot of structure, so that you can animate it quite efficiently. Nothing really back here. We're not going to animate him to walk or anything yet. We will do that, but not now. Go back up to that selection where it's build skeleton. Go down to animate and put the animate selection on, and we can start animating him. Now I'm just going to turn the head down, turn the opacity of the head down so we can see through it. And then we go back to our mesh column, go to the bottom and just fill it so it's running the whole way through like that. And then what you want to do, what I always do, is on the right there, set up the keys so that they line up on your X sheet here. So I'm setting up some keys in the body here, just using the column on the right there, that flick of the tail, just so that they roughly line up. You want things to be working together. So this is what I'm doing now. And then we can go into these keys and just add a few more keys where we need them and start moving these nodes around. So you'll see as you move the nodes, it's moving the mesh, and that's how this works. The actual drawing is moving with the mesh. And here we've got a little problem. The cool thing with OpenToonz is you can switch between animate and build skeleton very easily. So if there's a problem in the skeleton, you just go back to the build skeleton, go tweak the skeleton up, and then come back into the animate and carry on. So that's what we're doing here. And we can do that as many times as we need to. I'm just finessing this here. His neck's what's happening is his head is rotating, and over here it's going to really come back, and that we can't do without clicking or unclicking this keep distance function off. And what that does is it keeps the distances between those nodes nice and set. Now we don't want that in this occasion, because we actually want to squeeze those in. Bit of squeeze and stretch going on here. So we just go and unselect that, deselect that, and we can use it. But always remember to put it back on again, because I've animated things the whole way, I forgot to put it back, and it can end up as a big gooey mess. So always use it very sparingly, only when you need to, and then always go and put go and select it again. So you want you want your distances between these nodes to stay static most of the time. Only in rare occasions like this, just go and deselect it, do what you have to do, and then always put it back on. Okay, so now we've got that little flick where he's putting his head in like that, and for the most part, at least there, the body's following him. Let's just turn that mesh off. Have a look at it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's zoom out and have a look at him. Yeah, it can be tweaked a little bit more, but basically I'm very happy with that. Over here, the shoulders are moving where it doesn't have to move. And when we're done with that, we can do the same to the mane. Just select the mane, apply a mesh to it like we did with the body, and then go and build a skeleton. I've already done the skeleton there, and I'm just going between build skeleton and animate, just setting up this main. Again, I'm trying to line up the keys. If you look on the X sheet to the right there, I'm trying to line the keys up so they all move together. So whatever numbers you're using, I actually like using set numbers, so 6, 12, 18, 24, whatever, just to stay consistent, but it doesn't matter. I just try and line it all up so that if one thing moves, it all moves at the same time. It makes things a heck of a lot easier and simpler, and you don't get these floating movements after. You don't get stuff you don't want mainly. So I try and start like that, and then if you need to tweak stuff later, you can go and add more keys, etc. So we're just doing the main here, and there at that point his head really turns, so we need to go and take the distance key off again and do a bit of movement there, a bit of squash, and then we come down and we do his beard here. These Wildebeests are very cool. I love Wildebeests actually. They've got a lot of character. I find them very playful. They're almost like clowns the way they bounce around and play. And they look pretty strange too, which just adds to that. So I'm turning this keep distance selection on and off just because this is a bit where the head really comes in. So we want his mane to follow him in like this, but always, again, just remember to go and put it back on again. You don't want the mess you're going to have at the end there. So I worked my way through that, just tweaking it here and there, and eventually ended up with the final version, which I was pretty happy with. And that's it. That's how I animated this Wildebeest. So that's as far as I've got. If you want to follow the progress of me making this movie, please join my Making a Short Animated Movie course. It's available on my site. All the links are here in the description, and it's currently still at a discounted price because it hasn't been completed. I'm only halfway through the film and halfway through the course, but as you can see, there's already 5.5 hours of content, 75 lessons at this stage. So please go have a look at that and join up if you are interested in how I'm making this movie. There's a whole lot more detail in the course itself. I'm only posting a little bit here and there on YouTube, so please go and check that out. All the links are in my description. Okay, well that's it. I just wanted to show you where I am with the movie at this stage. I expect this part 4 will be complete in probably the next 6 to 8 weeks, and then it'll be out. Thanks once again for dropping into my animation channel. I really appreciate all the support I get, and I hope I will see you here again soon. All the best. Bye.